Let's start with a keynoter. He's been doing this, I think, 5 years now. You've been a keynoter 5 years?
Yeah. Time flies when we're having fun. At least 5 years.
So what do you become after you graduate from keynoting? Do you become the overall president of both associations? What do you become?
I think I've just hit the pinnacle of whatever I can hit. I'm at my plateau, so I better just hang on to this for as long as I can, Bill.
One of the things that we are looking at are the average prices. I decided after I took a quick glimpse at the numbers that came in from Kristen at the Real Estate Association that maybe we ought to look at some of those because I think it reflects supply and demand.
Yeah. Well, and plus we're at the end of 2020. So when we get to the end of year, then it makes it so it's real easy to compare some trends, compare years, that sort of thing. So I think that's probably the gist of what, when I brought some notes to the equation to you an hour ago, maybe.
Yeah,
just about an hour ago, which is at least 15 minutes earlier than I normally do. So,
but you were making a point, and the point was when we look at supply and demand, the supply and demand of houses that are on the market, price ranges, everything that's there. You can look at a year ago, but you're going to kind of look back more than a year ago.
Yeah, I went and looked at 10 years. When I was looking at some of our numbers, when it comes to our monthly indicators like new listings, pending sales, closed sales, days on market, median sales price, percent of original list price received, inventory of homes for sale, month's supply. And we'll kind of put some of this out on our website also. And maybe you want to use some of this in your blog, but there's some really solid information in here in reference to when you're looking at trends. For example, one of the trends was that when it comes to percent of list price received, for the last 7 years, we've been at 98% or above. Okay. So fairly consistent. Right now we're of course at an all-time high of 99.1%, which is in essence, you put it on the market, we're getting close to 100%, but when we look at
100% doesn't even get you a guarantee.
There's some of those homes are getting, they get priced multiple bids, and so it goes a little higher than what the list price was. So that part, which it kind of surprised me even when I looked at with 7 years, I was like, wow, that's pretty good. The low end, when we were looking at coming out of the recession, back in 2008, which it took us a while to dig out, but we get back to, original price received back in like 2011, it was 93.5%. And then 2010 was 94.5. So it was in the mid to low 90s, back then compared to now. So, and then the other thing was when it comes to median price points, when we look at those, median sales price, if we want to reflect and just look at the good old days of in 2010, median sales price was $143,500. A
little different today, isn't it?
Now we just fast forward 10 years. Median sales price is $230,000. So it just and to the point of housing affordability, what's been happening in our market, but it hasn't been like a big jump. It's just been little incremental jumps. We have a growing economy. We have a great business atmosphere here. So we can only expect to have something like this happen.
We talk a little bit about 100%, and with 99 point whatever, there's a few that got to be less than 99, which means there's a few that are over 100. And sometimes people that are even offering a full price offer have no guarantee that it'll be taken.
No. Case in point, we had a home this weekend that we came out on the market. Home was priced at about $150,000. So it's an entry-level, first-time home buyer. The home had been completely remodeled and redone. So in essence, it was like a new home. That we had within like 7 or 8 hours, we had 3 offers, and 2 of the offers were over list price.
Wow.
Yeah. So to your point, and I think that it's not just the homes at $150,000. There's you can say that same equation for homes up to 300 plus, depending on. I did take a look, just a quick snapshot of what homes were available at what price points right now. For example, like from 150,000 to 200,000 on the MLS, there's a total of 22 homes. of those 22, 6 of them are in Sioux Falls. So we only have like active homes that people can put an offer on 6 homes between 150 and 200,000. And that's representative of some of these other price points. I mean, like in Sioux Falls, if I go to 250 to 300, there was 7, which, you would think, geez, there'd be more than that.
You would think.
Yeah. But I also think, I mean, and that this isn't an alarm thing. It isn't like the sky is falling. This is like we just got through the holidays. We typically see a pullback, in the number of new listings. And that's the other thing that I looked at when it comes to the new listings. New listings, we were on average right with the other years. I mean, December of 2020 was very similar to new listings to the other 10 years. So, that part of the market was consistent. It's just that our demand is out the roof. So,
you having worked real estate how long?
I came in 2008, September of 2008, when the market completely flopped. About that time, I'd gotten my license on a Friday, and then that Sunday, the Argus Leader had said real estate at all-time low. And I turned to my wife and said, look, I got into real estate at just the right time.
2002 is when I first came into the business, and they never prepped us for these kind of offers back when we went to school. Do we need to go? Of course, we have to go back to school anyway, get so many hours to keep our license. But this is not what we signed up for.
Well,
it is, but it isn't.
I think it's what we signed up for, but I think what we have is we have a whole different dynamic in reference to the market, how our interaction with our buyers and sellers are. And I think the important part of this conversation, and we've kind of talked on this where you say, what advice do you give to sellers? What advice do you give to buyers? You have to be giving them advice on what's happening in today's marketplace and how they should be handled. I mean, for a buyer's sake, we have to tell them we may find the house that you really want, and depending on where we're at, we may not get it just because we can't bid it high enough to get it, or, we just right place, right time. We just didn't happen to be there. They accepted another offer 2 hours before we got there. And they'll say, well, they just came out on the market this morning. They're like, they may have gotten an offer within the first couple hours, and it all made sense. Terms made sense, dates, that sort of thing all lined up. They're like, yep, let's just do this. As for sellers, you want to make sure that we still have the conversation about making sure that things are ready, look good, clean, that sort of thing. But we're in a market where there's a whole larger conversation that we're having with both buyers and sellers than previous.
And it's not just little old South Dakota. We got people from all over the country seeing what South Dakota has become in the minds of a lot of people. And for the most part, the local people are now competing with those from other marketplaces that maybe are paying more.
Yeah, because you're coming from other economies. I mean, when you have someone that's coming from a larger metropolitan city, they're looking at our marketplace and seeing some of the homes that are for sale, and they're like, oh my gosh, you can get that amount of home for that price. And so they love the idea of moving to South Dakota because of the affordability. Now, we've been talking affordability and our economy for years. It's just that South Dakota, fortunately or unfortunately, because of COVID, all of a sudden had a spotlight shined on it, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, that's where South Dakota is on the map. Oh, that's what's happening in their state. And so, thanks to our leaders, for that. But I think we were just in the right place at the right time. With that, there's positives and there's negatives. We just have to make sure that we're having conversations about both.
So how do you train your team to make sure that you're ready for all these things that maybe it wasn't 02 or 08 or whenever it was. Maybe it was 19 or 18 that they got their license.
Yeah.
How can they be ready?
So basically, I think that the devil's in the details in reference to, I get gigged out about stats. As you know, I come in here and I have, copious amounts of pages here. I mean, there's an encyclopedia of
trees
information.
Don't like
well, we replant trees, so there's plenty to go around. We recycle, but I think you're having these conversations with your team members, and I'm even having the conversations with other realtors because, I mean, it's an all for one and one for all business. I mean, I want other realtors to be successful at what they do because it makes the whole transaction smoother, makes everybody happier. It's a positive experience. this is one of your largest assets in your life and largest transactions. It has to be a positive experience, because if it's not, it's a bad deal. It's not a fun situation. So whether they're on my team or whether they're a fellow associate, whether they're in Keller Williams or a Hague Realty, and I'm not saying that I'm the person to give advice to everybody, but I didn't get where I was at without having mentors. I had plenty of mentors in my life, and I listen and I ask questions. I'm more than glad to answer and help whoever I can at whatever capacity that I'm able to help at. But at the end of the day, by doing that, I think we're helping our clients. We're helping people in our community who are looking at real estate.